right, we're here for the pre-bid for bid number 11-127, the DSJ building air conditioning upgrades. I'm Deborah with the purchasing office. This is Dave, project manager, and Todd. These bids are scheduled to open June 28th at 3 p.m. That's going to put your cutoff for questions, close of business the 21st. And if we can get everything done by that date, we will not need to extend the opening of this bid. We are not expecting it to have to go to the assembly because we're estimating the project magnitude between $70,000 and $90,000. So that's also going to take care of your need for your bid guarantee. If we stay under the $100,000, we will not need a bid guarantee, which would have to be at least 5% of your bid and in certified funds. Basis for award for this contract is going to be lump sum to the lowest responsible bidder. Your payment performance bonds are the same way as your bid guarantee. They only apply to projects which exceed $100,000. Certified payroll is applicable, and the address for the latest pamphlet is on the back page of your documents. On your bid form, like I said, it's lump sum. There in the center of the page, please make sure that you acknowledge any and all addenda. Sign it in some color other than black so we can verify original signature. Signature stamps are cause for rejection. I have had to reject a few over this last fiscal year because of that reason. Also, if you make any changes, I don't care if they're neatly done and whited out, you need to initial them. We have rejected bids for that as well. If you have any questions after today, make sure that they're submitted to purchasing in writing, and the email address and the fax number are on the advertisement page of your bid documents. Email, of course, is a preferred method. It works a little bit quicker, and then I'm not messing up the question that you submit by rewording it in any way. When you submit your bids, please make sure that you, like I said, turn in the signed bid form, your bid guarantee if required, and then any other items which are requested within the instructions or the scope of work. And I'll turn it over to Dave to discuss the project.
I got a quick question. Did you say we needed a bid bond?
This project, we're expecting it to be $70,000 to $90,000, and in that case, you would not need one.
Okay.
Your bid guarantee and your bid bonds are only applicable to projects that exceed $100,000.
And we don't have to go to the assembly for award.
If we stay on, yeah.
100K. And we fully expect to do that.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go over this in a brief and general way, and then pass it off to Todd to talk a little bit about the mechanical and electrical.
So where are you at, Dave?
I was going to jump to the summary of work, section 0-1100.
Oh, before you go through all of that, we realized when we printed these documents that they are general conditions for the borough manager, or I'm sorry, the project manager, instead of architect engineered. So everywhere that it references a project manager within the GCs needs to be replaced, and we'll either issue wording to that effect with an addendum, or we will reissue all of the general conditions.
And essentially what that means is it goes through the engineer and then to me.
Kind of like
what we're doing
now.
Anyway, the summary of work I think is pretty straightforward. We want to install a couple of AC units up in the second floor law admin units or area. The units will be above the grid, and then the condensing units as shown on the drawings will be down on concrete housekeeping pad out in an area behind the fence where we have other mechanical apparatus, and we can take a look at that if you want to. I think the electrical is pretty straightforward. We have plenty of power available. I can show you the panel if you want to see it. And as you probably know, we have a sole source agreement for controls with Meridian Systems. And there is in Div 15, I believe, there's the sequence of operations as submitted by Meridian Systems is how it's all supposed to work. And then again for CLEBs, I may not have to stress this, but I do anyway on all Dorothy Swana Jones building projects. The fact that we're working in an occupied building, it can't be stated enough that the people that work here, some of them view it as their home, for lack of a better way to put it, and we cannot disrupt the workflow, normal operations in any way. So in that case, you'll notice under owner occupancy 1.4, paragraph C, you need to schedule the work to accommodate the owner, and it's more than likely going to include nights and weekends. Essentially, I'm going to have to approve your schedule, and again, as the contract that you guys are currently doing, any work that is down and out of the way in mechanical rooms, etc., you are free to, the contractor would be free to do that work during the day. Any work, above the grid and occupied spaces, etc., is nights and weekends. There is some work that's going to be done outside, as long as we don't interrupt the access to the building, create any safety hazards. Doing that during normal business hours would not be a problem. So the main idea is not to interrupt access and operations of the borough. And then the last thing of consequence in this section is there's 90 days from the notice to proceed for substantial completion, and then another 30 days for the punch list. I went through the submittal sections and highlighted a few things, and I don't know that I need to go over that in this format unless you guys had any specific questions. I'd be happy to talk about them, but the spec is pretty straightforward. Stress that Meridian is the control contractor. And there's a sequence of operations in Divisions 15, Section 15940. And then I think I would just skip to the drawings and let Todd give you a little overview on that. I think those are pretty straightforward too. So pass it over to Todd.
Okay. Dave pretty much covered the scope of work. A couple of AC units on the second floor, condensing units down on the ground. We've got a couple of condensate pumps that need to go up in the ceiling. The ceiling on the second floor is a bit crowded. It has existing supply ductwork up there, so there may be some stuff in the way. We've looked at it and tried to design around the existing ductwork as best we can, and sprinkler piping.
So you're showing 18 by 16, like coming off AC1.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the space.
Yeah, there's decent space up there. It's just, there's some existing ductwork and the sprinkler lines up there. But if I remember right, we had about 30 inches depth up there.
So are we going to be able to look at it where these are going to see if sprinklers need to be removed or moved?
They do not.
They don't have to be moved? Okay.
We spent a fair amount of time in design on this project, and what we want to do here in terms of placement of the units and the routing of the ductwork is all doable.
Okay.
That said, this is not new construction, and you guys probably are aware of that. There is a lot of stuff above the grid. It's all doable, what we want to accomplish here. If you want to go and look up there, we can do that. The area that we're working, second floor admin, contains the manager, the assistant manager, the clerks, which report to the assembly, and the mayor. So it's probably the most sensitive area in the borough as far as disrupting. So I will leave it up to you guys. Having said that, we can go up there and pop our heads above the grid. But
Well,
we have to
if you guys have done it, then we don't need to. I just wanted to ask the question.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah. I want to stress that opportunity is available to you guys, and yet
Right.
It can be done what we're asking. So.
Today. It's available today.
Yeah. And as far as we can go out and look at the, I call it the goat pen, the fenced in area, and show you what the plan is out there, the exterior routing, and kind of what we have in mind. We want that all covered with sheet metal and painted to match, made to look as clean as possible. Looking at that is not a problem.
So Todd, on the drawings on M1 where it shows the pipe enclosure detail, it calls for 16 gauge, and then on the other sheet here it says 14 gauge. Which
I'll have to clarify that.
That one on the
Where do we show 14?
right here.
Okay. Can you submit a question on that? We'll issue answering it and
Dave, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the fire alarm stuff.
Yeah, I do. Do we have any note on that?
It's in on M10.
Note 3.
Yeah. So that's one thing that comes up
Okay.
in this building.
Well, again, you guys are the only ones here, so you know the drill.
Yeah.
We have an agreement with Tailored Fire Protection Services. Essentially, any soldering that has to be done where there's smoke detectors in the area, you'll have to coordinate with them at your expense to shut the alarm down. And as you know, what we did on this last one is ran on all the runs, and then on the Saturday they came in. I think they had the alarm shut down at 5 and did all their soldering and back online at 5, I believe. And the fire watch rules are essentially you need to stay in the area 30 minutes after you're done with the hot work, and you can't leave the building until the fire alarm is back online. And as far as I know, that went pretty smoothly.
From what I hear,
Yeah, just coordinated ahead of time.
I'm sorry, Dave, who did you say they were? Who were we working with?
The fire protection folks, Tailored
Taylor.
Fire Protection, I believe is their name.
and this will all be brazed.
Well, I haven't looked.
It's 3/8 and 7/8.
Are they just line sets? Oh,
Yeah. I just know from the past experience, usually refrigerant is brazed.
depending on the size.
Right.
These are small units. They do have line sets too. But I haven't read the specs yet, so I won't ask the question.
Yeah, I haven't seen them.
Well, you could submit them all at once with that. Do you guys have any more questions on this here before we go look at the different areas?
Did you look at the electrical sheet? Is that pretty straightforward?
Seemed to be to me. I mean, I'm no electrician, but
Show you the panel.
Who are we using? Panel everything's coming from is shown right there on that drawing. This is down on the first floor, so I'll have to get some conduit upstairs.
right. Should be good.
And there is a note about a couple of head bolt heaters that we want to make sure that we don't de-energize. But that shouldn't be any big deal. My understanding is there's plenty of power.
Who's the electrician we're using?
Out here?
Yeah, I can't remember. Not that it's getting to look at this.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just go look at the areas you wanted to look at, depending.
Where do we want to see?
Outside?
Definitely outside. Get some pictures.
Probably good.
That's going to conclude the recorded part because it's going to be too loud out there to record
Right.
anymore.